Hello guys. Good morning. How are you doing? I hope you guys are doing fine and well. Welcome back guys to another vlog. Welcome back to another video. Today, as you have seen from the thumbnail to the title of the vlog, I want to be breaking down a little bit of differences between, Nairobi, Kenya and Kampala, Uganda, since right now I'm back in Kampala and I've been able to do my comparisons very well. But before I dive into the vlog too, if this is the first time you're watching me going on over here, hi there. I'm tanyanishailoc. I'm a Ugandan content creator. Feel free to please subscribe, like, comment, and share out with friends and family. Yes. So I've already made a couple friends back in Nairobi, Kenya, and I kid you not, they have told me that it is very cold down there, but Kampala is normally very, very hot. That is actually known, especially between the three East African countries. But this time around, I don't know what is happening. So that's why I have on this jacket, because the weather has been just under, starting from yesterday to right now. Mind you, today it is what, 7th? I think it is 7th, not 7th actually. I think it is 9th, 9th, because today happens to be Wednesday. So I have my list already made here, and I'm going to be going through everything from my perspective of view. So mind you, I'm recording this video from my perspective of, view. The first thing I want to talk about is the abuse culture and hospitality. Uganda is normally known for abuse culture, especially on social media. And it is really, really sad. I don't know if this is the same in Nairobi, Kenya, but while I was in Nairobi, Kenya, even the videos I uploaded while in Nairobi, Kenya, it seemed that the abuse culture, especially on the internet, was quite low compared to what is back in Uganda. So that is one thing I also loved so much. On top of that, the hospitality. I talked about hospitality in a couple of videos, and I kid you not, even up to date, I can still feel the warm welcome of Kenyans compared to where I come from back in Uganda. This is my perspective, guys. Yes, because someone might say this or that, but according to me, while I was there, I was treated very well from the airport to the last bit I left the airport. Even while I was on board, because I remember my luggages with my friends had an issue, the plane was almost actually starting in about I think in about 5 minutes. 5 to 10 minutes, and the lady came in from the immigration, and she wanted to confirm some things. The whole eyes in the plane were on me, but she was very kind and very calm. Let me see your passport, let me see your documents, and I felt like that was the part. But they were also very, very kind compared to where I come from back at home. Back at home, people are very, very reserved. Here in Uganda, people are very reserved. They are not open to supportive culture, and they are more into abusive culture, especially on the internet. So that brings me to the second point I want to talk about. This is the official languages. Kampala, or generally Uganda and Nairobi, Kenya, were both colonized by the British, so we still share the same official language, which is which is English. So both of us speak English, so communication was pretty easy for me, especially around the city and around the different places we visited with a couple of my friends. But then they also have another official language, which happens to be Kiswahili. In Uganda, we don't have another official language. We only have one official language, though Luganda is commonly known by almost every Ugandan. But, we don't have two official languages as people from Nairobi, Kenya have. For them, they have two. And also, it would be very, very good for you to practice a couple of Swahili so that you can literally enjoy your stay there. They'll be more welcome. They'll be, more eager to interact with you because they really know that you want to learn, especially like myself. I'm an enthusiastic person when it comes to education. And it was pretty amazing for me to learn. Actually, I didn't learn before I went there, but on the second day I realized that I had to get a couple of words, and knowing a couple of words, it really brightened up my stay there. But they use English, we also use English, and it's only about Swahili. The third thing, it's about patriotism. Guys, people from Nairobi, Kenya are very patriotic compared to Ugandans. And I see this especially from, the wristbands they wear. The whole of my entire life, I've never worn that wristband of Uganda. Let me kid you not. I've never worn it. And I don't know why, but Ugandans, as we grow up, I don't know, maybe because of the season or the regimes we have been in, Ugandans were very, very conserved people. Yeah, that is true. We are very, very conserved most of the time, even though we have something that is literally paining us deep. We shall not talk about it, and that is the absolute truth. And now I'm giving you tips for non-Ugandans. This is the true Ugandan. They are very conserved. Even the most painful thing, they'll never talk about it. You know, they can go through life like myself while having issues, but it's very rare to share them because of the conservative culture we are actually brought up in. This is completely different. And I think the same thing affects the way how we are patriotic in our nation. The same point for Nairobi, Kenya, or for the Kenyans, they are very patriotic, and most of the time they will tell you whatever the issue is from the word go, compared to how we are back in Uganda. And in that, they tend to be very, very patriotic. They wear their wristbands, they'll come onto the internet, support whoever is talking about their country, give their authentic views about their country, give authentic views about different things about their country, which is still really, really a big thing according to me as a creative and as a person who is yearning to live this conservative kind of culture. Content creation and supportive culture. Supportive culture in Nairobi, Kenya is way more better than when it is here in Uganda. Here in Uganda, in order to earn from content creating, or in order to become, a content creator who is fully known, you have to either be in the abusive culture kind of frame, or on top of that, you have to be speaking Luganda. So you'll find out that content creators here who are succeeding very well, they are native Luganda speakers. So they just speak Luganda and people will just flow in, especially on TikTok and on some YouTube channels who speak Luganda. Well, in Nairobi, it's completely different. The content creation culture there, it's completely different. People are quite supportive there. Even though you don't speak Swahili, you just come in with English and contribute whatever you have to contribute. As long as it is good content, they'll give you feedback, which will grow you and also help you understand more their cultures and help you also to understand your way around as a foreigner. So it was really, really a very, very big difference. Infrastructure in Nairobi, Kenya is much better compared to the infrastructure back home. And this is not from a very bad perspective. I kid you not, I've grown up in Uganda. I'm 26, almost making 27. But moving from this realm of life I'm used to and going to another realm of life, which was quite new, it really opened my eyes to what infrastructure should look like. How should roads look like? How should hospitals be established? Skyscrapers and malls, how should they be established? Yeah, when you look at elevators, when you look at escalators, these people have these things and they function. In the couple of malls and big buildings we have in Uganda, even escalators don't work, even elevators don't work. Let truth be said, because truth will set us free. That is the absolute truth. Infrastructure in Nairobi, Kenya, way much better compared to the infrastructure back here in Uganda. We saw a couple of schools and universities, the quarters where students sleep, the university hostels. That is completely different from here in Uganda. When you look at the way how the hostel business is here, those simple things, it is completely different. So this brings me to the next point I want to talk about. This is food. Generally, I did love Kenyan food, but it is not spiced food. Especially if you're a Muganda man like me, we usually enjoy food, especially food with sauces. So in order to enjoy ugali, I really need a sauce, like maybe meat stew, maybe fish stew, maybe, even though it is sukuma wiki, but it has to be in a stew form. In Nairobi, Kenya, it is completely different. They usually have their ugali, which we call posho here in Uganda, what we call a kaunga. They usually have it with either sukuma wiki or broccoli, as it is, like it's not in a stew form, and maybe you can have on kachumbali. It is not as spiced. The only thing that might be a little bit spiced, it might be the nyama choma, but most of the time I'm not a person who eats nyama choma on day-to-day basis. Most of the time I can decide to eat matoke, posho, what you guys call ugali, maybe sweet potatoes, cassavas. While I was there, I didn't see most of those different, especially when we went to a shaki grill and we are having Kenyan native food. They didn't have those other types of food, but that is what they had. So compared to me, Kenyan food is not that spiced. Maybe they told me that when you go to the coast, biryani cultures there, they spice more of their food. But where I was in the Nairobi central kind of area, the food was not that spiced, but in a good way, because that is their culture. Our culture emphasizes more spicing food and also serving food when it is very hot. Ugandans, I don't know, I was looking at statistics the other time, and they are saying that throat cancer is an issue, and they are saying one of the reasons, regardless of the fact that a lot of Ugandans take cigars, they smoke, but also taking very hot things. Ugandan culture emphasizes very hot food. The food has to be served while very hot, while as there it was not the same thing. Value for money. In Nairobi, Kenya, I kid you not, you are going to be getting value for money and also value of money. There are two things: value for money and value of your money, compared to back here in Kampala, Uganda. I don't know if the regulatory authorities there are quite tight, that people cannot bring in substandard things compared to what things which enter here in Uganda. But the products you are going to be paying for, I kid you not, they are going to be of very high quality. But you would see that the quality, especially on those things, was really very good compared if you bought the same thing back in Uganda. And mind you, back in Uganda, the thing that a particular product that is maybe 1,000 Kenyan shillings, which is about 40,000 Ugandan shillings, in Uganda here it might be 2,000 Kenyan shillings, which is about 80,000 Ugandan shillings. So you see that the price there is quite low, but the quality is really good compared to back here in Uganda. The same thing when it comes to content creation and delivery of advertisement. There, because the population on the internet is quite much, people are going to come in to support the business. Here in Uganda, because the population is quite low, actually I think we have a population on internet which is about 24 point something, which has internet circulation within the whole of Uganda, but the value for money and value of your money compared to the product or commodity you are actually investing in is going to be quite higher. The next thing I want to talk about, guys, this is culture, and I want to just emphasize on a few things because I've already talked about Swahili, I've already talked about foods. One point I want to talk about culture, it is respect and the spirituality aspect. Respect, it's more of hospitality, but there is that age of respect I think Ugandans give to elders, which I didn't realize a lot amongst Kenyans for the period of time I was there. For example, you're not supposed to look in front of, we're not supposed to look directly in your eyes while talking to you. We kneel down, we bend, especially Baganda. Now I'm niching it down to Baganda because I'm from Buganda specifically, but you might find that other tribes in Uganda, they do that. But from the tribe where I come from and from the culture where I've grown up, respect calls for a lot of things. For example, not looking directly in the elder's eye. Even a person older than you one day, that is your elder, and they're supposed to take care of you. There are conversations you will not talk, and this is also something that I realized. Kenyans will just say bluntly whatever they want to say, but there are conversations you can't talk in front of your elders who are slightly older than you. And it is something I realized. I don't know if maybe the growing up kind of but it was quite different and it was quite new to me. The other thing, it is spirituality and religion. Ugandans are very spiritual people according to me, compared to Kenyans. For the period of time I was there, I'm a person who is very spiritual, in conjunction to my religion and my cultural beliefs. But while I was there, I would realize that even the slightest thing, things would just happen and people would not even have a concern about them. And yet back in Uganda, in case something happens like this, the first thing to ask, what is this here to teach us? What is this here to pivot, in our journey? What is this here to say? I did realize that there are on very many occasions, things happened abruptly, which back in Uganda, we would consider those to be, targets or markers or directions in terms of spirituality, and yet for Kenyans it would be a walkover. Climate and air quality, can't end off the vlog without talking about the climate and air quality. Right now, as I told you guys, I have a friend in Nairobi, Kenya, and he told me yesterday evening, that they're in winter and it is very cold, minus 10 degrees. Uganda doesn't get cold to that moment, and how I wish I was there to experience. I was telling him, Gabi, in case I was there, it would be amazing for me to experience that, because I love cold weather at the end of it all. But hopefully by the time I go there, you guys are still in winter and I would experience that, how cold that would be. But while I was there, it was sunny, and it was sunny, though most of the time it was cold, but it was not cold, yeah. So the weather was just chilly, and the air quality is top notch. Mind you, by the time I flew out from Uganda to Nairobi, Kenya, my sinuses were all over the place, and while I reached there, everything just became calm, yeah. Everything just became calm. I kid you not. I was breathing very well. Everything was very well. And I made a couple of comments on air quality while I was there. And it was the absolute truth. The air quality there, amazing. Maybe because we're in an area where the environment, they didn't have like industries and all that. But where we were, air quality was really very good compared to Uganda. Uganda is funny, especially in the central bit of it. Right now, they might be constructing a building, like the policies that allow them to construct buildings and cover up dust, they don't work. Roads are very, very crooked and funny, those things, and they end up polluting the environment. People burn rubbish almost everywhere. All those contribute to poor air quality back in Kampala, Uganda, compared to Nairobi. Yes. Security. Guys, while I was in Nairobi, Kenya, I felt very secure. Let me kid you not, though, after talking with a couple of people, they told me that maybe we are lucky because we went to CBD for a night tour, and a lot of guys told me that was not a good decision because most of the time there are goons there. But while we were there, it was really very safe, according to me. Walked throughout the whole city, regardless of the fact that we had people who tried to follow us and ask us for food. It never felt like they were going to go out of their realm to attack us. You guys, I ended up coming inside because rain started abruptly. But what I was saying is that back in Uganda, I also think that we have some good security, or we have generally good security. Since I was in Nairobi for a very little time, I wouldn't really assess how much you would feel secure moving around or living there on a day-to-day basis. But according to the current mandamanos, you guys know that those which have been happening, I just feel Uganda has some better security measures, especially when it comes to demonstrations and all that, because I was looking through all the mandamanos and people losing their lives and people losing their property and routers and goons. I don't think such a thing would happen in Uganda before the UPDF would come out. And basing on the fact that our constitution actually does not limit the UPDF to just come directly to protect the people like how it is in Kenya, because you guys are limited by the 2010 constitution that only police has to maintain peace and order. In Uganda, it's quite different. And from day one, the UPDF would have come in and try to settle everything and give extra support to Ugandans, especially people with businesses and all that. I just feel like both places have good security basing on the situation, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think basing on the situation. But in Uganda, regardless of the fact that we also have some hiccups, but the security is really good. So with that said, guys, I want to end off the vlog here. Thank you for watching. I'm soon, coming back. I know not very many people know this because not very many people watch the videos to the end. But in case you have watched this moment in time, I'm letting you know. So I'm coming back very soon. I can't wait to explore, learn new things, and merge more into different cultures and amongst the different tribes and meet my friends I've already made on the internet and all that. Yes. Tanyanishailoc switching out. Bye for now.